My audio isn't working again for some reason, but I've been commissioned to make a cookie jar after the fashion of the way I did that Beads of Courage box. So I've glued up 4 sections that will become staves. So basically it'll be a square. And then I will cut the sides to 45 degrees, glue them into a square box, and then start turning it around. I didn't record any of the milling process because you've seen me do this before. If you want to know how I did it, I'll put a link in the upper right hand corner up here to show you so you can go to the Beads of Courage box and see that. So I'll come back when the angles are cut and this is glued into a square or a box.
So check this out.
Okay, I've got the angles cut and it's glued up into a box. I've got it clamped up with hose clamps, and that should be enough, and I'll let this dry overnight before I start working on it. I need to turn it round. Unfortunately, I'm going to lose most of the beach that I had on each end, but oh well, that's the way things go. I've hot glued 2 scrap pieces inside the square on each end, uh, so that I can put it between centers. One of them I will use to make a tenon so that I can turn it around and put it in a chuck and then shape the outside. I've also cut the corners of the box off to help try to avoid tear out. So I got it all glued up and now it's time to make it round. I put these glue blocks in it. The purpose of this one is to make a tenon. This one is just so that I can keep it centered. So let me get this chucked up and I'll come back and we'll start making the outside round, and I'll put a tenon on here and turn it around and finish up the outside shape, and we can start on the inside. At least that's the hope. Okay, it's running pretty true. I'm going to take these little corners off here real quick. Since this is long grain, this is in essence a spindle. So I'm going to use my spindle roofing gouge to trim it down. That'll do for now. I'm going to work on this tenon. Now we'll finish making it round. I'm taking lighter cuts, try to get as good a finish on here as I can. I'm going to use a board and I'm going to sand this to ensure that it's nice and flat. Okay, I did it. Alright, I'm going to start working on this over here. We'll make this smooth. When I'm ready to move on, I'll come back. Okay, I've installed my steady rest just to give me some more support. That tenon was feeling a little bit weak. I'm going to pull this out and I will move on to my next step. When I'm ready for that, I'll come back. Okay, I've got my elbow tool hollowing system set up, and I'm still going to do this very, very gently. So this is going to take a while. It's like the age-old question, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's almost round, about halfway down. We'll just keep whittling at it. Oh yeah, nice. Very nice. Okay, out here is where I want it, and here it's about 3/4 of an inch. Out here it's about a half, so I got to take a quarter. Alright, I'm not going to sand the inside of this till I turn it around. Okay, I've got it turned around and I've got the plug out. So now I'm going to go over to the 2014 and I'm going to make this piece round for the bottom, and I'm going to make this one round and get it the rough diameter I need for the lid, and we'll work on the lip of it. I'm putting basically a food safe finish on this. This is Axe first step. It's a mixture of pure tung oil and beeswax. I'm only going to go up so far because I'm going to have to turn it around and do it again. So I'm going to rub this in real well, let it sit for a few minutes, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to basically melt it in to the wood with this sock. Use a friction tube. Help keep that beeswax melted in. And it's worked. And there you have it. Now let that dry for a few minutes before I take it off, because I want that wax to harden back up. That'll be a very good finish for the inside of this cookie jar. Very food safe, and when I'm ready to go to the next step, I'll come back. I said I was going to move these to 2014. I changed my mind. Now I'm going to make this round, and then I will size it for the jar. This is going to be the inside. Okay, that will fit just over the side. have a way to hold this when I turn it around. I'm still going to finish this. So what I want to do now is I want to turn this around and I want to chuck it up and start shaping the top of the lid. And then I will glue a piece in for the knob. Let me get set up for that and I'll come back. This is a piece of an old piano built almost 100 years ago in Philadelphia. You can say they veneered this oak with green poplar and mahogany. Let me go find a piece for the knob and I'll come back. Okay, I found a piece for the knob. It's a piece of mahogany. I won't shape the knob until I turn it around. Before I do anything else, I'm going to cut the recess. All right, time to sand this thing up. That's how it's going to go up to 600, and I know y'all are concerned about how funky this looks. I've got an idea. We'll see if it works. I'm going to apply a coat of Mylan's sanding sealer. Now I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do something else. Okay, now I'm going to give this some time to dry, and I'll come back and I'll sand it back with 320, 400, and 600. I like that. I'm going to leave it just like that. Next step is working on the bottom. I'm going to make it round. That's where I'm going to cut my mortise. Now I'll turn it around, put it in the chuck. Alright, that's good. So now I need to turn this around, chuck it up, and finish this in here, and I glue the bottom on. Okay, I turned this around, chucked it in my cold jaws, sanded it up just like I did before. I didn't show you that because you saw it the same way. Axe first step, just like before. Now I'll let that dry about 20 minutes. I'll come back and I'll buff it up. Okay, so all I need to do is undercut this a little bit. Now I'll put a little bit of shape in there. good enough for now. Let's bust this up. Okay, I forgot to sand this. I'm going to start with 240. I'm going to rub it in a little bit. And then I'm going to let it sit 20 minutes. And then I will buff it up. And then I'll glue the bottom on. So I've got this up here. Alright, I've got this clamped up. And I'll let this sit for several hours. And I'll come back later tonight. Yes, tonight. Because on deadline, I've got to get the finish put on this tomorrow after I sand this up. And I will make this the same size as the outside. Alright, this is set long enough that I can go ahead and finish turning this. So time to sand this up. I'm applying some myelin sanding sealer. Now I'll let this dry a little while and I will turn it around and finish the bottom. I'm going to sand this up. I'll show you what it's going to look like. And because this is the inside, I'm going to use one step on it. Work this all in. Now I'll let this sit for 20 minutes. I'll come back and buff it up. Then we'll turn it around and finish the knob. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. We'll buff this out. Alright, that looks good. It's nice and protected. Now we'll turn around, put it in another chuck, and finish that knob. The more I look at this, the less happy I am with it. I'm going to try to do something about that. I cut all of that black back off. I just like it better. So now I'm going to apply some myelins one more time. So here's the lid all done, except for the 1 or 2 coats of lacquer I'm going to put on in the morning. Now I need to finish the bottom of this, and when I'm ready to do that I'll come back. Okay, last little bit of turning. Okay, after last night's fiasco, I got this back. I used some different grippers on the inside of this. I got the bottom finished and sanded. It's all sanded back up. When it fell, I got a couple of dents in it. I steamed those out, so we're good to go. So I'm going to hit it with some more sanding sealer. Now I'll let this dry for, I don't know, half hour, and then I will make sure it's smooth using a white Scotch-Brite, laser my logo in the bottom, spray the finish on it. And this will be about done. So here it is, all done. A couple of coats of lacquer on it. It's got a nice sheen. The lid doesn't wobble, but it fits just right. Inside of the lid and the jar itself is coated with tung oil and beeswax. It's completely food safe. A couple coats of lacquer on the outside, and I like it. My logo and date burned in the bottom. I hope she's happy with it. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I had some had some trials, as I always do. It seems like, you know, but that's the way it goes. I'm very satisfied with this piece. Again, like I said, I hope she likes it. So, what's next? You know, I don't know. I got to do some cleaning up in here for sure, because I mean, this thing puts stuff everywhere. But so I got to do a little bit of cleanup. But I've got some. I got something I need to finish and a couple of things I want to do. So I guess it all depends. But I'll have something coming out pretty soon, I hope. So thanks again. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.